What's up guys, it is Chris back with another watch video, and today we have PHOIBOS on the channel. PHOIBOS are a brand that I have featured here a number of times on Watch Chris. They make very modern dive watches and they also make vintage inspired dive watches. Today I have one of their vintage inspired dive watches to show you guys. They keep on stepping up the quality on their watches, and this one is really very well made, and I'm very excited to show it to you guys. So I really love the direction that PHOIBOS are going in. They are really stepping up their game. They've constantly come out with new watches that are sort of intriguing and well made. Today, I think I have one of the best designs from the brand, one of their best made watches to date. And that is saying a lot because a lot of what they've been doing recently has been great. This is an awesome watch. It really hits basically on all levels. The bracelet, the case, the dial, the bezel, I love it all. It's really a cohesive design as well. I'm going to get right into it. They've changed the packaging, so you're getting a 2-watch zippered enclosure leather watch carrying case. So you can put another watch here, a strap, or a bracelet, depending on what you want to travel with. And then, of course, there's a compartment here for your watch, and here it is. So you can see there's definitely a theme throughout this watch, and it's sort of this angular, rectangular theme that carries through the bracelet, through the case, and even on the dial. Really just a beautiful setup of this watch. I was very, very impressed. You can get that in the bezel a little bit through the knurling of the bezel. It really does have a lot of great details on it that I was very, very impressed with when I first saw it. The bracelet itself is obviously a stunner. It really does look very, very good. You have polishing and brushing, and it's like a 9-link bracelet, but it's really nicely made. It feels beautiful in your hand. Screwed links, and then of course you're getting the typical buckle from PHOIBOS. This is just a typical Microbrand buckle, but it was the bracelet that sort of caught my attention immediately, and then of course the case and the dial. Now the dial on here has tons of detail as well. This is a gray fume dial. They make it in a few different colors. However, this gets sort of a distressed, scratched look that they are saying looks like the skin of a narwhal. Now, this is the inspiration behind this watch. I get that they use inspirations for watches and they come up with stories behind them. I think they just came up with a nice name for the watch, the narwhal, which is sort of an interesting animal that has a horn. It's an aquatic animal. Definitely look them up. I'll throw a picture up of a narwhal. They actually have an engraving of one on the back of this watch. They're called the unicorn of the sea. Very interesting animals. But the inspiration behind this watch is that animal. I'm not sure if I see that, but either way, that doesn't matter. It's an awesome watch. You have a bezel that is made out of ceramic that is loomed. It's just a black bezel that's sort of inboard of the case a little bit. You have a tonneau shaped case. It's a rectangular tonneau shaped case. Lots of angles here. So you're having brushing on the top, polishing on the tops of the lugs. Then you get brushing again, so it's alternating. You have these slab sides with really nice lines of polish on the top and bottom. You have a screwed-in crown. My crown actually screws in perfectly so that the logo of the brand, the octopus, is sitting perfectly level with the case, which is pretty awesome. As I mentioned, even the bezel has like notching in it that sort of reminds me of the bracelet, sort of reminds me of the case. You have a few notches and then a large notch that's in that bracelet. You can see there's polishing and brushing on the actual bezel itself. Really well done. The dial has applied indices. There's 2 different types of loom on here. There's some old radium loom, and then they have some white loom. So there's a little bit of vintage loom, a little bit of white loom as well. You have stick hands. They're sort of, segmented a little bit. There's loom on those. And then you have a second hand that has a little pip at the end of it. That's also in loom. Beautiful. They've applied the indices. They're sort of faceted. Some of them are rectangular, again, in keeping with the theme on this watch. Really well done. It just says automatic, and then the depth rating. This is a 300-meter dive watch. You get a Miyota 9015 because you do get a date there at the 6 o'clock. It's replacing the 6 o'clock indice. It sort of balances out with the 12 o'clock index. And it is not color matched, so that means it's not color matched to the dial. However, it is color matched to the rest of the indices, so it definitely balances out, kind of disappears into this dial. I really like the date at the 6 o'clock. It works very, very well on this watch. Screwed in crown, screwed in case back. Obviously, that's how you get that 600 meters of water resistance. There's a narwhal on the back of the case. I'll do a close-up of it so you can see. It just says automatic, sapphire crystal, and all that good stuff. The water resistance of 300 meters. Even the case back and the back of the case is very interesting. It looks good. I'm not sure if this is an original design, but it's close to an original design. It's definitely inspired by 70s divers. Very solid bracelet as well. You have solid end links. Milled buckle, like I said, is sort of a Microbrand job. A lot of brands use these sort of buckles, but they do a good job with it. Very heavy line of polish on it. It's brushed, and then you have that logo with the PHOIBOS octopus on there, and it is nicely engraved, not sharp. Very well done. Just an awesome bracelet in general, and then you have 3 positions of micro adjust. I really do love the bracelet. Price on this is around $400. I think it's like $400 or $399. They're offering, I think, $80 off currently. So if you want to pre-order it, you get $80 off, and then eventually it will go up to $480 or $479, somewhere around there. Not a bad price considering the construction of this watch. And it definitely reminds me of another brand that I am very sort of fond of in the Microbrand space, as I mentioned. And I actually have one of their watches on my wrist today, and I'll show you that in just a second. But they keep on stepping it up. So that's what I'm trying to get at with that. Let's do some quick measurements on this watch, and then let's do a lume shot, because the lume on here is very, very good. You have those large indices, and then you have the bezel, which is also lumed. So I don't think the crown is lumed, but everything else is lumed. So very quickly, this is around a between 41 and 42 millimeter watch, depending on where you actually grab it. So if it's 41 millimeters directly across, slightly to the left, it's a little bit larger, but that's not a big deal. The bezel itself is 41 millimeters spot on. The case, the lug to lug, you do have female end links on here, as you can see. So the effective lug to lug is around 50 millimeters, somewhere around there, 51 millimeters almost. And then the true lug to lug at the lugs is 50.7. So it's essentially the same. Crown, 6.4 millimeters. Thickness on here is a respectable 12.8 millimeters. You get a sapphire crystal that is flat on here with AR coating. So that's why it's a little bit on the thinner side, which is always welcome, of course. And then the bracelet, I believe, is a 22 millimeter bracelet. It is a 22 millimeter bracelet, and then it tapers down to around 20 millimeters, somewhere around there. And then it's back up at that bezel to 22.6. So slight taper on the bracelet, but considering the case design, considering the design of this watch, that taper is fine for me. I'm going to throw it on my wrist really quickly, and then we're going to do a lume shot. Let me show you what I have on my wrist today. It is Zelos. Zelos really stepping up their game. They do a really great job with their bracelets, with their cases. This is starting to remind me of Zelos a lot. They're doing a very, very good job. And Zelos in this, or Zelos, however you want to call it, and I actually had a conversation with Elshan about that, and I'm going to talk about the next video that I do for Zelos, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But this is a brand that is sort of the benchmark currently, I think, in the Microbrand space. But PHOIBOS are really stepping up the game. As I mentioned, they're making some pretty incredible watches, very well made and really good looking. Look at that. That is a good looking watch. Kind of reminds me of Helson a little bit. You know, the really robust over-engineered bracelet, the over-engineered case, the really beautiful bezel. They did an excellent job on this watch. Seriously, one of the best watches from PHOIBOS that I have seen to date, period. And one of the best Microbrand watches that I've seen to date. Honestly, very, very well made. Very quickly, let's throw it under some UV light and do a quick lume shot. The lume is excellent on this watch. I actually forgot to do bezel action, so I'm going to quickly do that now. The bezel action on here is really good. Perfect, really. It's got a really nice audible click. There is no backplay. It feels really good. All in all, the quality on this watch is very, very high. I believe these are made in Hong Kong. I don't know if that makes a huge difference, but excellent. Just really very, very nice. Bezel action is great. Lume is awesome. Very liberally applied. You have two different colors looms here. You have that old radium and those dots that go around the perimeter of the dial, and then everything else I think is BGW9. Just very well applied. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. $400 gets you, a really high quality watch with a Miyota 9015. It's a good looking design. I really love the bracelet. I love the case. And I love that they sort of went with a theme on this watch and kept that theme throughout the entire watch, including the bezel, the case, the bracelet. Everything here has a cohesive theme, which is not very common for a lot of micro brands. And this is sort of its own language, its own DNA, and I like that. I hope they keep this line in their watches, in their lineup of watches for years to come, because it's very high quality. But tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.